see some people joining. I'm just waiting for maybe more people to join before I start talking about my regular, what looks like regular Thursday daytime sessions. And what I normally talk about, I talk about piano technique. I give a few ideas and tips, slightly unorthodox from piano yoga perspective. And I also show some quick shoulder release exercises, which actually can help anyone who plays piano, plays any other instruments, or plays, or don't play, it's actually just sound engineers. If you guys have any questions, you can just message them to me, and if I can, I will answer. I like to be thought-provoked, so to speak. But also, I don't know, I'm trying to gather what is your interest. Are you a musician, or are you a music lover? You just want to listen to some music, or you want some tips on a technique, or you want some tips on the well-being, or you just have some spare time and you're curious, which is also fine. So welcome to my live event. And this is a regular session, so I just gather, some of you send me questions during the whole week, and what I do, I just answer them. So while we are waiting for some people who actually ask me questions, I can talk about maybe a couple of things about the sound on a piano, because that's something which really interests me and always interested me, because I really think that through sound we can really affect someone else's mind, and they don't have to go into analytical process. They just hear the sound, and like sound can make us feel really relaxed, or really excited, or angry, or upset, or can bring a lot of different emotions. So when we play piano, obviously we have an instrument. It's not like playing orchestra. And I think the hardest composer from classical point of view was Beethoven, because he kind of thought about piano as an orchestra, and so to produce different colors on the piano is quite difficult. But here I was thinking, what is something very simple I can show, and which would work online as well, because obviously some very intricate things I may not be able to show you. So you all know that in piano, or in any music, but we're talking about piano, we have some kind of voicing, and we always try to create different voice and show different voice. So this is very famous prelude by Rachmaninoff. What I wanted to show you, that we have the stop voice, but this is like an echo. We're trying to create an echo, because I think this is how he was thinking. And again, he brings the top, and then he brings the echo. So the sound of the echo should be really quite different from the sound of the main voice. So what does it mean technically for us? That we need to produce a sound with a different technique. So if, for example, for main voice it's easy, you play with your usual sound. So what I would personally do, but it doesn't mean that someone else would do the same, I would use more my finger weight to create the line. I make fingers quite heavy, and I'll kind of use my forearm weight even. But when it comes to the echo effect, it's completely different. I would also think about your hand as a tree, and this is leaves falling from the tree. So you're kind of trying to play very little. You're taking out of your fingers almost doing nothing. You're just using natural weight of the fingers to draw sound of the piano. And I always like using left pedal as well to create that kind of murky, slightly murky feeling. So you see, it's very, very different sound, and that's what makes piano alive. example, if I put weight here, you see, that would be the same. It would be the same sound, and I don't want that. So it's very important. I think when we play piano, first we visualize what kind of sound we want to create. And then once we found the sound in our mind, we think, okay, how actually technically are we going to do that? Okay, one question. Okay, so that's kind of a nice trick and very easy to incorporate. You don't need hours of practicing. You just need to change the touch. I also play around a lot with different parts of the fingers which are engaged, but that's something for, if you want, I can tell you something deeper and something I talk a lot about in my book, Piano Yoga book. So that as far as the technique is concerned. As far as the shoulder release exercise, because I don't know anyone who doesn't want another shoulder release exercise which is easy, because we all have shoulder problems. And last time I was showing you exercises with belt, so this time I'm going to show you exercise with a block, which is, it's so easy, anyone can do it, you don't need to be a yoga practitioner. As a block you can get, if you don't have a block you can get a book, but I prefer blocks, and I think it's cost about £5 or £6. So you get one block and you get so much out of it. So what you do, you sit straight obviously, and then you hold the block in front of you so you can see like this. So if you're at the desk, for example, or at your piano, and then you take a breath, and all what you're trying to do is to bring the block above your head, and you're hardly touching the block, so it's very, very easy. And what it does, it really strengthens and stretches and strengthens as well, but it stretches your upper back. What you want to make sure that your ribs are not going forward, so you need to bring ribs slightly back and make sure that your back is flat. But this is a fantastic release, and then you can do it several times. So again, you take a breath, and then you breathe out and have a block above you. And again, your tendency would be for your body to go like this, so please don't. So you create that resistance with your body, and you bring it to the front, and you do one more time. You take a block above your head, you look straight, I suggest you look straight. You engage your abs, really important. Make sure that your sitting bones are firmly connected to whatever you're sitting on. If you're standing, you need to engage your abdominals and make sure that all four corners of the feet are connected to the floor. And then if you do it 3 times, this really gives you a fantastic release for your back. And anyone can do it. If you have, for example, shoulder problems, right? If you can't do it with straight hands like I do, it's fine. You can just bend your shoulders. You will still, the only thing you need to watch out, I don't know if you can see, you need to keep your shoulders away from your ears. So you just doing it like that. That's better than nothing. It's still what it does. It creates a fantastic opening here. And when we spend a lot of time with the computer, the piano, this is where we have our stress. So I really recommend you to do it. So again, for those who join in later, ideally what you want to do, you take a block. If you don't have a block, you take a book. And another thing, don't grasp to it. Just take it really lightly. This is why I like the block, because it's light. It's kind of intention. You engage your abdominals, take a breath in, and then breathe out. You bring the block above your head. And you're trying to resist your ribs are protruding forward. You have flat back. Hold it, look straight, and release. And if you do it 3 times, you'll be sorted. Again, if you have problems with your keeping your hands straight, you can just bend it like that. It's also would be very good, but you need more control. And another thing, don't do anything fast. The slower you go, the more efficient it is. It's sometimes like, you know, when we work with weight, if we do something really slow, it really gives the time for the muscle to understand what's happening. So here, even with bent arms, you bring and you release. And that is already fantastic opening. You don't need any prior yoga practice. So I highly recommend, and again, you can get a yoga block on Amazon. It's very, very easy. Another thing I want to recommend, but this is for people who are practicing yoga or people who are more adventurous, people who don't have any issues with shoulders, but this is a fantastic release. It's really, if you're suffering from any issues, and especially in your upper shoulder girdles, you know, and you feel like you want to open and you don't have time to go for the massage, so this is a fantastic thing. So what you do, you take your right hand, for example, and you put it diagonally. You take your left hand, you put it underneath, so people who do yoga know what it is, eagle arms, and then you try to make sure that your bottom fingers are touching your palm, okay? So this is starting point, and you try to look the space between your hands. And this could be just one place, so try to do it, shoulders away from the ears, engage abs, you look forward, sitting bones firmly on the chair, or if you're standing, all four corners connected to the floor. And then you take a breath, if it's available to you, and you bring, oh my goodness, you bring your shoulders up, and this is where the work really starts. And then you bring it down, and then we're gonna do 2 more times. If you want to try it with me, please join. We're gonna do it on the other side as well. So it's really important that your hands, that your bottom fingers, ideally, touching the palm of your upper hand, and on the third time you hold, 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 let it down, and release. And this is unbelievable. It's so good. It immediately opens my back and my shoulders. I feel amazing. The only thing, whatever we do in yoga on one side, we have to do it on the other side. So if we started with the right hand, now we take the left, you bend it diagonally, then you bring the right underneath. So this is point number 1. Then you try to make sure that the fingers of the bottom hand are touching the palm. And this is our starting point. Again, make sure that shoulders away from the ears, so you don't have this situation. Once you find your position, then you take a breath and you bring your elbows as high as possible. Obviously, if you have any shoulder problems, please don't do it unless you talk to your physician. But that's obvious because it's quite intense exercise. But if you're healthy and you're just a bit sore, this is great. Make sure that your ribs are not protruding and your abdominals engaged. Very important. And then you hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. And gently release. And you do a few circular movements. And again, you can do it very quickly when you're in between your sessions or whatever you're doing on the piano or your computer if you're a sound engineer. And the final thing I'm going to show you before I go, unless you have any questions, if you have any questions, please do write them to me there. It's a very easy exercise. Again, you interlock, so this is for our wrists, because in yoga we believe that a lot of negative energy and a lot of toxins are in our wrists and our ankles. So what you can do, you interlock your hands and then you slowly start doing just a figure of 8. You start slow. If you hear click and pops, it's fine. It means the body is mending itself. If it's available to you, then you can try to do it fast. But to start with, really go slow. And this is, you can do it almost on an hour if you're working at the computer, because we all know, and then you go in opposite direction, because we all know how locked our hands can be, and if we are musicians, it's absolutely lethal for us. I think spending too much time on the computer because it locks us. And so you can go in opposite direction, and again, if you hear clicks and pops, just walk through those. Make sure your shoulders again away from your ears. And some people prefer to do it a bit lower. I like it quite high, like higher, because I can have more flexibility in my wrists. And that's it. And you have literally 3 to 5 minutes break, and you feel revitalized, and you can go and you can do your practice. So guys, if you don't have any more questions, I'm gonna go. But I'm trying to be live when I'm not traveling here every Thursday, and at the moment I'm not traveling. So if you have any questions, if you have questions about the technique or anything, please let me know, and if I can, I'll definitely do my best to answer. Piano yoga offers some unusual solutions, and because what I do is piano yoga, I work with the body, with the natural understanding of the body, and because we are all unique. So the first thing I always say to people, well, you need to know this about your body, or this or that, because some of us actually we are not. And then I teach you how you can apply this to certain technical things. Maybe it's a trills, or maybe it's a chords, or maybe like today, different sounds, whatever. So if you have any questions, please do send them to me. And thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for your time, and namaste. Bye.